So, wives, here's a hard question for you. Is your home a place of refuge for your husband or a place that he seeks to escape? See, that's exactly the issue Proverbs 21:9 addresses when it says, "It is better to live in the corner of the rooftop than in a house shared with a contentious wife." Wow. Now, notice this verse isn't talking about a perfect wife versus an imperfect wife. That's not the point. It is talking about the atmosphere created by a wife who is consistently contentious, argumentative, critical, or combative. That's what it's talking about. And the problem isn't about disagreement because every marriage has its disagreements, right? The problem is when strife becomes the overall climate in the house, where that's the consistent atmosphere. Because when that's the case, a husband will forfeit his comfort in order to escape it. See, God designed the home to be a place of peace and rest and refuge. So the question for us wives is not, am I right? The question is, am I seeking to create an environment or an atmosphere where peace can flourish? Now, I'm sure to some women this verse might kind of sound like a put down, but it is actually an acknowledgement of the influence and the power that God has placed within us. Because a wife doesn't just live in her house, but she helps to set the atmosphere in the home. Her words, her tone, her spirit, her attitude can make a home feel like a place of refuge, or it can feel like a war zone. Because see, we have the power to calm the storms in our home. We have the power to bring rest. Okay, we have the power to create a safe place within our homes. You know, I saw a video on TikTok not too long ago that I think is the perfect modern day example of this verse. But long story short, the wife is frustrated because her husband is an hour late getting home. And so she notices that he's sitting in the car. He's been sitting in the car. So she goes out there and he is like knocked out, sound asleep. And so she says to him, "Why are you in the car resting? Why don't you come in the house?" And the husband says, "I can't rest in there." And then she says, "Baby, can I bring you something?" And he says, "Yes, some peace and quiet." And then she says, "Well, I'm going to come and sit with you in the car." And he says, "No." And then as she's walking around to get on the passenger side, he locks the door so that she can't get in. See, in this modern day illustration, this husband is saying, "I would rather sit in this car than go into that house because I can't rest in there. There's no peace in my home." You know, I'm sure your husband doesn't go up on the rooftop. Well, I hope he doesn't. And maybe he doesn't sit in the car like this husband does. But are there other places that he escapes to because there's no peace in the home? See, men are built to function best in peace. In fact, we all are. And when peace is missing in the home, it drains our strength. It affects our peace of mind, you know, our sense of well-being. And it weakens that connection between husband and wife. And you know what? God is so serious about this environment of peace, so serious about this, that he repeats the same warning 2 other times. Proverbs 21:19 says, "It is better to live in a desert land than with a contentious and fretful woman." And then Proverbs 27:15 says, "A continual dripping on a rainy day and a contentious wife are alike." See, God doesn't repeat himself because he forgot what he said, and he surely doesn't stutter. God repeats himself because there's something valuable that he wants us to grab a hold to. And he's saying to us wives, create a peaceful environment in your home. And so this proverb should invite self-examination, not shame, not condemnation, not feeling as though your voice is being silenced, but self-examination. And so I want you to ask yourself, not thinking about your husband and what he is or isn't doing, but ask yourself this question: what atmosphere do my words and my attitude create in my home? Do I bring a spirit of peace and comfort, or do I bring strife and tension? See, wives, pursuing peace in your home is so valuable, and it is so powerful. And so I encourage you, be the wife who brings calm and peace into your home. Protect it, cultivate it, fight for it, because when peace lives in the home, everyone thrives.